Good morning everyone and welcome to Sustain. So at this point I will have gone through everybody's food diaries and activity diaries, and I will have come to the conclusion that some of you might need to set certain goals whereas others set other goals. So everything is done on an individual basis in Sustain, and that's why we keep the group size nice and small. So one of the benefits of the Sustain group is that everybody is joined into a WhatsApp group. So what I would encourage you to do is share your weekly goals, share your targets, and share your physical activities, what kind of training you're doing, whether you went out and walked the dogs and you felt well after it, and maybe share some recipes as well. So if anybody has discovered a new product that's really tasty, or if you've done something to change one of your favourite meals to make it a little bit healthier, we'd love to hear about it. And oftentimes you might ask a question that other people want to know the answer to, but they won't ask the question. So if you do have a question, please do ask it on the WhatsApp group. I may not answer immediately, but I will answer eventually. Okay, so just moving on a small bit. So there are a couple of options in terms of physical activity with the Sustain group. So first one is at the end of the pack you're going to get that I've emailed to you. There are a couple of training plans, so you can alternate between these over the next 4 weeks if you wish. If you're an avid gym goer, if you're starting out in the gym, these exercise plans can be made easier or more difficult. If any of the exercises you're not familiar with, it's really easy to just hit Google and type in the name of the exercise, and more often than not on YouTube links will come up with those exercises. If there's anything you're finding difficulty with, put it in the WhatsApp group and I'll post a link to the exercise in the WhatsApp group. I have no problem doing that. So the other thing you're going to be doing if you're not working out in the gym is you're going to be doing something called Just 1 Mile. So Just 1 Mile is an interval session, and if any of you haven't done interval sessions before, it's basically where for just 1 mile, or for about 15 minutes if you're a walker, it might be 5 minutes if you're a very fast runner, you're going to do an interval. So you'll start off at a certain pace, and at various points during that 15 minutes you're going to speed up for a little while, then you'll slow back down, then you'll speed up again and you'll slow back down, and that's what we call doing intervals. Excuse me. So you can start off nice and slow at a walking pace and speed up your walk, or you can do something called walk-run, where you're walking for a little while, you're running for 20 seconds, and then you're coming back to a walking pace. Again, the handout you get is going to have details of Just 1 Mile, and you can pick whichever program you like and you can progress it as the 4 weeks go on. So again, I'd love to hear your feedback on the Just 1 Mile program, and you know, every couple of days I'll be posting something in the WhatsApp group to let you know how to progress your Just 1 Mile training. The ideal would be that at the end of 4 weeks you're able to run, if you can't already, you're able to run 1 mile at your own pace, and that pace should get faster and faster as the weeks go on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is food. So I guess being a nutritionist, the Sustain program really is predominantly about nutrition, and no matter what kind of training you do, if the nutrition isn't there to back it up, you're really throwing your time away. So what we're going to look at is whether there are any deficiencies in your diet. So first and foremost, we're going to look at whether you are deficient in any vitamins and minerals, and we'll do that by assessing the food diary you've sent to me. And we're going to assess your habits, your eating habits, whether you need to change them, whether you might be in a situation where actually the type of food you're eating is really good, but you're not eating enough of it, or you're eating too much of it. So all of these things can hamper your progress in terms of your body composition goals, or your health goals, or your fitness goals. So we'll say if you're an endurance athlete and you want to drop weight to make it easier to cycle or easier to run, we can do that. If you are just looking to drop a dress size, that's achievable too. But not over 4 weeks. And the whole idea of the sustain group is that you do achieve these goals eventually. They might be set as a long-term goal, but you are building habits now that are going to allow you to achieve them in the future. And that's the important thing about sustain. It isn't a 4-week program to get you looking your best within the next 4 weeks. It's a 4-week program to allow you to really, really slowly, one habit at a time, change how you do things. And that's the other thing I wanted to explain to you. As I said, you're going to get a handout in your email. The important thing is that you don't jump ahead when you're setting goals. So you'll see in the handout that every week we have new targets, and it's really good to just start on week 1 with your first target and do it really well, because you might do it great for 3 days and then you kind of fall off the wagon a small bit on day 4, and then you try and get back on day 5. And if you try to do lots of different things at the one time, you're kind of setting yourself up really to fall. So what I would like to see you do is start week 1 with your week 1 targets. Start week 2 with your week 2 targets, but having built on week 1 targets, and so on and so forth over the 4 weeks. So we're going to take 1 week at a time. You're going to start setting some goals, and I'd like your goals to be SMART goals. So what do we mean by that? I'm sure lots of you have heard this already. So I'm just going to reach forward here now. So first and foremost, your goals need to be specific. Okay, so when choosing a goal to work towards, you need to be really specific about what it is you want. So you're not going to say, I want to eat more healthily, because it's just too broad. It's not specific enough. And again, there's nothing, you can't turn around at the end of 4 weeks and say, oh, how do I measure how much more healthily I'm eating? Whereas you can set an achievable goal like, I'll eat a mixture of vegetables with every meal for this week. Or you might say, this week I'm going to eat breakfast every single day if you don't already. Or you might say, I'm going to have protein with every meal if your protein intake is poor. So that's what I mean about specific. And questions to ask yourself to ensure that your goals are specific are: who's involved? What do I want to accomplish? Where, when, what do I need? And why do I need to do this? So if we'll say your goal is somebody said that you should lose a few pounds, or somebody said that you should put on a few pounds, maybe using other people's input isn't the way to go about this. And I'd be more inclined to say, if you're doing it for you, it's going to be a more successful program for you. Your goal needs to be measurable. So you need to be able to say at the end of 4 weeks, or at the end of every 1 week, how do I measure my progress this week? If you say I want to be healthier, that's not measurable. So you might say, I need to reduce my waist circumference. Currently it's 32 inches, I want it to be 31. And that is something you can measure. There's a number there. I tend to veer away from weight on the scales because it's not really representative of body composition or how you look or how you feel in your body. You can be lighter, you can be 3 pounds lighter and feel awful, and that's not what we're going for, okay? So the other thing is the goal needs to be attainable. So when you decide what it is you want to reach for, you need to be able to reach it, okay? So oftentimes when we decide exactly what it is that we want, the way to getting that becomes much clearer. And if you can define something and make a decision that that's what you want, then I'll do my very best to help you get there. Okay? So your goal needs to be realistic. It's all well and good to decide that you want to start running now, and maybe saying at the end of 4 weeks that you can run a mile without stopping. That's a realistic goal. Deciding that in 4 weeks' time you want to go and do a half marathon and you want to win it, if you've never run before, maybe isn't so realistic. Okay? And time. We need to put a time limit on it, and that's why we have a 4-week window, and we set goals on a weekly basis, and then we set a goal for the last week as well, for the entire program. So your homework for week 1 is I want you to set a goal for every week. Okay, and we're going to do a bit of talking about this on the WhatsApp group. So if you're struggling a small bit to set goals, don't worry, we'll come up with loads. So I want you to set a goal for each of the weeks. So at the end of each week, I would like you to have a target. Read through the email I've sent you, and have a look at the samples I've sent in that email, and you can use some of those examples. You might have completely different goals. It's completely up to you. And again, give me feedback in the WhatsApp group and let me know what it is you want to achieve over the 4 weeks. So you've already filled out part of that in your food diary form, but it's really interesting. Once people get started, oftentimes the goals change a little bit, and it'll just be interesting to see how much they change. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So we're going to, on week 1, we're going to begin with food, okay, and we want to discover whether we actually need to be fixed. So some of you, as I said, might eat really, really healthily, and but are still looking to try and lose weight, and it might be that your diet is actually a little bit too clean, and we need to introduce some different foods into it. But again, we're going to look at everyone's diet individually, and I'll give you all individual feedback on that. So week 1, we're going to look for nutritional deficiencies, see if there are any, and we're going to discuss that. Monday morning, I'd like you all to get your runners on and do program number 1, either in the gym or for the Just 1 Mile program. I've also posted some links to a Pilates exercise sequence that's going to work your core and your glutes, and I've posted a 4-minute workout video as well on the beach that you can do after your Just 1 Mile training, and it's just a little bit of strengthening work for the legs. So the links are on the form I've sent you, or else I'll put them into the email, and enjoy them. If you have any questions, please do send me an email and or ask me in the WhatsApp group, and we'll talk soon.